And welcome and good evening, good Monday evening. Oh man, this is amazing, amazing Monday. And we are here premiering our brand new show, Movers and Shakers, the Influencers Edition, here on Indigo Inspire Live. I'm your host, Patrice DeLisser, as well as my co-host, the one and only Sherwin Williams for Gospel Music Buzz. He likes it when I put the emphasis on the Z. And we'd like to thank you all. Hey, it's awesome, awesome. And we'd like to thank everybody so much for being here and taking time out of your busy evening to join us live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Don't forget to, hey, take that share button, share this live. We got an amazing gentleman who is, I mean, we are honored definitely for him to have a schedule to allow him to be on our show today, and a great way to kick off the premiere of Movers and Shakers. The one and only Greg Uncle G Lyons is with us today. So right now we want to give you some homework. Make sure not only you share, put some questions in the comments, because you may want to ask Uncle G a couple questions. We'll definitely be sharing some of your questions with him. If you're an independent artist and you have some questions and you want to know exactly, how he does what he does, and maybe get some few pointers, we'll definitely make sure to share those live here on Facebook as well as YouTube. And what we cannot get to, I will share them with Uncle G, and that way he can respond to you and maybe connect with you privately with any questions you have as far as industry related questions are concerned. But right now, Sherwin, you are in Florida. You are not in your usual spot.
I'm not in my regular spot, hence this background. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm here. I'm in Florida this week. Yes. So this week and then next week, I'll be coming from a different location as well. But yes, so I'll be away from my traditional setup, but nonetheless, I'm here. And you kind of trip me up, because when I'm used to speaking to you, it's Thursday and I know tomorrow's Friday, and then I go into the weekend and it's like, it's the whole party vibe. No, it's like a Monday. So, now it's like you mess with me, man.
Listen, movers and shakers. If you're going to be a movers and shaker, you got to move on any day of the week.
Come on. You got to be ready. Not too many people like the Mondays, but you got to be ready. So it is what it is.
Hey, Monday's a work week. Let's get it started and let's get it popping. And before we bring them on, we want to share a couple of announcements with you, and then we'll be right back with the one and only Greg Uncle G Lyons. All right. Yes. This coming Thursday, we have the one and only Deborah Carolina will be with us for her pre-live recording event with Indigo Inspire Live on the collab. We'll be with her on Thursday. So we're excited about that. And this is Deborah Carolina's first live recording. And so I don't know if you had a chance to see her on James Fortune and Isaac Harris. They have a YouTube showcase. And Deborah came on there last week and smashed it.
I saw it after, like, I know, because is that the one where Andrew Caldwell was hosting with them as well?
Yes, that's correct.
So when I joined in, I think she just came off, because then they were receiving donations on behalf of her event that was coming up. So I caught that part. I didn't get to hear her singing, but I came on right after, and then Andrew is just funny altogether. So
Yeah.
that was an interesting show.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Tremendous
She
show.
she set the atmosphere from just like the first couple of notes. I mean,
Mhm.
they were wiped out. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that on their YouTube channel, I believe it's on James Fortune's YouTube channel, you'll be able
Yeah.
to go back and see not only Deborah Carolina, but you'll also see some of the other guests they had on there. But she'll be with us this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. and it's going to be a fun evening. So without further ado, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So usually we don't have an intro, but I think this gentleman requires an intro.
All right, what we got? What we got?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a hell of my B, U, crooked letter I, N, E, crooked letter.
The one and only Greg Uncle G Lyons is in the building.
What's happening?
He's about his business.
Hey, my good people.
Yes. Uncle G, we're throwing out everything we can technologically to welcome you to the show, to Movers and Shakers. Thank you so much for being on the show.
I'm humbled to be on the show. I'm humbled. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. It would not be it would not be a Movers and Shakers show at all unless you were in the lineup. And for you to
please.
No, seriously. No, we've got a lot to talk about because it's not about what you're doing now, but the things that you have done that led up to this moment. And we just want to really appreciate you as an influencer within the gospel music industry and just the integrity in which you are handling things as far as really growing, developing your brand, expanding your brand over the years. I mean, we know that you've worked with major artists. So, but the fact that you are still committed to the gospel music industry and really want to see it flourish really says a lot about the fact that you really want to see that unnamed artists really make it, and you've had some incredible ones. So we just want to take the opportunity to share our platform, and thank you for sharing your platform with us tonight. So
okay, I'm glad to be here. Like I said, I'm humbled anytime anyone shares their platform with me. I'm humbled by that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna turn it over to my co-host Sharon.
What? Yeah, that's the man. So, Unc, you're a straight family because just seeing it. One thing I guess I want to start with is that there's something about authenticity, right? And I want you to jump into a little bit about your background and kind of how you got started, but also just tie that into just being authentically you, right? Because not just seeing you on Instagram, but I've seen you in person, I'll fellowship with you in person. And it's basically the same person that is on Instagram. It's the same person in real life. It's the same person when you're doing business. It's just the same person. So kind of just, for a lot of individuals that might not just know you, touch a bit about your background, but then kind of tie that into being authentically you.
That's funny to me, Sherman, because like I told you earlier, nephew, this is the only person I know how to be. I've been this person for 62 years. So I don't know how to be anybody else. So what you see is what you get, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, in person, business, personal. This is me all the time. I'm just me, man. But my career, I don't know how long the show is, but my career started years ago. And I like to even go back further than just the industry career because I actually was a chauffeur for about 15 years. So I like to tell people that was part of the journey as well. I don't think anything in life is by happen chance. I really trust in God to order my steps, and I think that was part of it. I was a chauffeur for 15 years, so it allowed me opportunity to serve people. I was in the service industry, but it also allowed me to be in the company one-on-one with some of the richest people in the world, some heads of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. But I also had the privilege, the company that I was working with did a lot of entertainment business as well. So I got to be around a lot of artists, a lot of music execs, records execs. So I picked up some good and bad things. afforded me the opportunity to say, if I ever got into this position, whether it be in corporate America or in the entertainment business, I know what to do and what not to do, or what I would want to do, have happen to me, or how I would want to treat people, because of the way I wanted to be treated. So, that kind of started me off. And then, actually from there, that afforded me the opportunity to work with my nephew, Master P, with No Limit. And I started off with him in transportation, and worked my way up from, being over the transportation department, making certain that limos were in the different cities to pick us up and stuff like that, his travel arrangements, to, after about 6 or 7 months, I found myself as the general manager of No Limit Records and managing P and Romeo's career. From there, I did that, for about 7 to 8 years. And then from there, I branched off with a young lady by the name of Naoki from Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was my first gospel experience, I guess you would say. She had been singing since she was a little girl, had been singing gospel, but then her and her sisters, she had 3 sisters, formulated a group called Millennium, and they were touring and singing background for Prince for 3 years. And after that tour ended, she met this guy, and he was from New Orleans, and a mutual friend introduced us and told us that he wanted to get his wife back in the singing gospel industry as a solo career. So he introduced us. And I had never worked in the gospel industry, but they presented some music to me. They flew to Houston to meet with me. He told the mutual friend told him what I was doing at No Limit and what I had done. So they flew out to Houston, let me play the music. And I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I've never worked in the gospel industry, but she was kind of contemporary. I said, but I really feel that I could get this music played on the radio, given opportunity. So they gave me a chance. And from there, we took her first single, I think it was He's Here, and got that song to number 5 in the country, our very first solo single. So that, opened the doors a little bit. And then an associate of mine at the time, Brian Courtney Wilson, which I had known from singing around Houston, he saw what I had done with Naoki, and he approached me at invited him, make the story short, one of my Christmas parties, annual Christmas parties. And he told me that he had a project that he had done, and he was signed to Music World with Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's dad, and they hadn't put the project out yet, but he wanted me to listen to it. And, we talked about it at the party, and I was like, okay, it's kind of loud here, so I'll make certain I listen to it. And he left it with me. And about 2 days later, I was on the way to the gym, and I grabbed it from the living room table and popped it in my truck and listened to it on the way to the gym. And this song, All I Need, came on. And I couldn't get past this song. And once I got to the gym, man, I was just sitting in the gym, man. I was in tears because that song ministered to me personally. It's just saying about all I need is a touch from God. And I look back over my life, and I was at a place prior that I was so low, all I could see is up. Luckily when I hit rock bottom, like God was at the bottom, and he comforted me. So that song really ministered to me. So I called Brian immediately. I was like, man, what were you telling me about this song and this album and everything? And I said, do you have any more, these CDs? He said, yeah, I have a garage full of them. He said, we recorded about a year ago. Stan Jones, shout out to Stan Jones, produced it. And he said, we recorded this project, but they hadn't put it out yet. They had tried a couple of radio promoters, and, just kind of went away. And I'd say, well, at the time I was with a lot of NBA players as well, and running around with a bunch of NBA players. So I said, let me talk to some of my guys since they haven't done anything with it, and maybe I can see about getting you out of your contract. So about a week or two passed, and Brian called me back and say, gee, man, Matthew called me, and they're ready to put the project out. They were looking for a radio promoter, and I gave them your name. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great, man. I'm humbled by that. And it was between me and a couple other people, and he kind of insisted that I do it. He put in a good word for me, so they chose me. And that same song, to this day, is the longest running song on any genre. 92 weeks on the Billboard charts. That song's been. And from this project, I would say in most modern times, for as long as I've been doing, I've never heard of anybody else I had 2 of his songs on the Billboard Top 30 charts from the same project, in the top 30 at the same time. And I don't think that's ever been done. Well, that kind of solidified me in gospel, doing gospel radio, because Matthew hired me from having a success with Brian to do all of the music for Music World with all of his artists. So that included people like Michael Stampley, Trinity 5-7, 3 seasons of Sunday's Best. I got that artist out of the contract, which I did, which allowed me to start my own label from there. And from that is where I am right now.
Wow.
I mean, literally, my head is spinning because of, and it's not because of them all feeling like inundated information. It's the intentionality of the steps were very deep.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, there is and I'm so glad you went back to the days of driving in the limo, because a lot of times people will see individuals like you and think, hey, you came in, you did your thing, you said we had to say, and now boom, you're doing what you're doing. But in actuality, that is not the case. And you actually were spending that 15 years learning.
Yes, ma'am.
And where people would have, been mad about the small, quote unquote, the small beginnings. But those were not small beginnings, because just who you described. Yeah, gleaning.
Like I said, the company that I worked with was one of the top companies in Houston, and they did business all around the country. So whenever there were, I think it was called Music Express, was the company, national company. So you had different affiliates in different states and different cities. So we were the #1 affiliate for whoever was traveling. If we'd be on this show for another 2 weeks if I named some of the people that I've driven, like James Brown. I've driven James Brown. I've driven Ivana Trump. I've driven, like I said, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Just a list of Michael Bolton. Just a list of artists, and like I said, corporate people that I've been privy to sit in the car and overhear their conversations. And the Jewish guy was older white Jewish guy that taught me the limousine business. He told me, it's always stuck with me. He said, you'll be in a position to be with people one-on-one that other people just can't get because of the red tape they have to cut through to get meetings with these people. He said, not only that, their life is in your hands because you're driving them around. But he said, always remember one thing. He said, be sociable, but only speak when spoken to. You know what I mean? So he said, be personal, but don't be personal. He said, if they wanted you to be their friend, you would be riding in the back seat of the car instead of the front seat of the car. So that always stayed with me. So, I would like to feel I'm a people person. So the job itself was good for me. And to this day, to be honest with you, Patrice, I really missed that job. I missed that job, man, because it afforded you, like I said, the opportunity to be your own boss. You didn't have anybody looking over your shoulder, and you were meeting different people from different walks of life every day. So that was like a pleasurable challenge to me to, get to know them or the hustle for the tip, so to say. Every day was different. Every client was different, but it also taught me the importance of repeat business, because I never want to treat any situation as a one-off situation. I'm never looking to hit somebody over the head and make as much money as I can for that particular time. I'm always looking to, do business down the line. And so you want to make an impression on somebody where if they don't call you back, at least you made enough of an impression that they feel comfortable enough referring you to somebody else. So that's what sustained me in life, period. Those are lifelong lessons from that. Because again, even to be humble enough because it wasn't a job for everybody. Because I say it's the service industry. So, for you to be able to open and close the door for somebody, or hold the umbrella over somebody while you're getting wet to make certain that they don't get wet. It's kind of humbling, you know what I mean? So it just taught me a lot about how to treat people and how you want to be treated. So I took some of those same principles that I learned then, and I still apply them to my life now. And God elevated me from riding in the front of the car driving to where I was in a position to where I was being driven. And the crazy part about it, to go to show you how it's full circle, and God will always remind you, when I got into a position with P to where I was, general manager of the company, and I was this big guy in the industry and stuff like that. So now I'm flying all over the country. And when I would, drive, I wouldn't drive, but when it was time for me to fly in and out of home, from my home to the airport, because I live about 45 minutes from one airport and about an hour or so from another airport, instead of driving, I was able to hire the same limousine company that I had once worked for.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was,
Wow.
again, I was humbling, because now I'm driving. Now I'm sitting in the back of the car being driven by some of the people that I once was working shoulder to shoulder with.
Wow. I don't know how many people here are just like the diamonds that you are dropping in terms of how to conduct business. We have a difficult times understanding that even in the gospel music industry, it is a service. It is a service industry.
Yes,
and I've never really particularly thought of it in that fashion, but the fact that it is a service industry, but serving people with a message about a savior should elevate what you do to a higher level of integrity and a higher level of really showing people that, hey, it's okay. You don't have to fuss over me. We're here together and we're in this thing together.
Right.
So I think that is just amazing. But I must say though, I love the flip though. Here you are now being picked up by the same company that you used to drive for. So I got to wink at that.
It was sort of uncomfortable, because the first few times I didn't ride in the back of the car because I knew these guys. You know what I mean? So I would just, ride in the front, and we just talk like old times. But then after a while, they would just kind of insist that, man, it's okay, because it made them feel good, because it was like we're driving all these other people. So now we don't want to treat you any differently. Like, you worked for that, to be able to do that. So it'd be like, okay, you just sit in the back. It's okay. Even though we would have the same conversations, but to them, that was their way of showing me respect, or happy that, in their minds, one of us is elevated. You know what I mean? So we want to give you the respect that you're paying for, so you ride in the back. But I have to tell you, it's very uncomfortable, because again, I would tell you to this day, I missed that job. That's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had in my entire life. And if something would have happened, if I was to have to go back to provide for my family, I wouldn't think about it a second to go back and do it, because again, I miss it. I miss doing that.
Well, who knows? We talk about multiple streams of income. There you go. That's your next stream, your own limo company.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's funny, because let's say it's an opportunity out there for me to do that. It's an opportunity for me to do that.
Sherwin, stick with me, my brother. Okay, I'm telling you, stick with me. Sherwin knows what I'm talking about. Every time I get a little nugget out of every person that comes in this show.
There you go.
So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited.
I receive it. Like I said, it's an industry that I love now. And I made good money doing it, because like I said, we can go on and on of the people I've driven, like Martin Lewis, Aaron Neville, Martin Lawrence, Aaron Neville, just a plethora of people that from all walks of life that I've done. But it was just more than the money aspect of it. It was just, lifelong lessons. People that you watch on television all the time, and now you're feeling comfortable enough, or they're feeling comfortable enough to talk to you about their family issues. You know what I mean? Like, they're talking to you one-on-one, being personal, or letting their guards down to talk to you about stuff, or some of the conversations that I've overheard that has to deal with things that go on in the corporate America. Like, I've had to get what is it called? They had to do government background checks on me to drive. I've driven heads of states, people from foreign countries, sheiks. I've driven sheiks. So, it was amazing to me. But now as far as the limousine company business itself, I know it has to compete with Lyft and Uber and stuff like that. So it's not as fruitful as it once was, but it's still there. And again, I miss it. I miss it. Trust me, I miss it.
That is, I mean, that is definitely that's going to be part of your biography for sure. Your
Oh
autobiography.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have some stories I could tell you. So, oh yeah.
I want to take it back before the music career and your earlier influences as a young man, growing up, and who would you say was the pivotal person in your life that really helped shape you who you were as a man?
My father and his work ethic. My father was a man of few words, but he worked, and he brought his whole, he's deceased now, but he brought his whole check home, and regardless of how much that check was, he only took $30 out for himself for the week. $30 and a carton of cigarettes was all he wanted out of his check, and he gave the rest to my mother to do whatever bills needed to be paid. Like I say, he was a man of few words, but he showed me the importance of family. He showed how much he loved the family, and like I said, his work ethic was that. And I'll say as far as business, I will say P, my nephew, because he has a very strong work ethic. Like the only time that I used to tease him about it. I'd say, well, for your birthday or for Christmas, you have everything. For your birthday, Christmas, I know to get you, I'm gonna just buy you literally a first class seat, like the chair itself, not a ticket, but a first class seat on the plane, because that's the only time I ever have known him to sleep. He never sleeps all through the night. The only time he gets any rest is like when he's traveling from city to city, to where he just conks out before he even pull the breezeway from the plane. He's dead sleep, and he's sleeping in that chair, but I don't think he sleeps at night. So just the work ethic that, the grind, because it was a grind doing the limousine thing, but just to pick up the work ethic of the constant grind and to put, more irons in the fire. Don't depend on one thing, how you just, put some irons in the fire on different things. Don't count all your eggs in one basket. I learned that from him. And then just to work, man, just always working, always thinking about something else to provide for my family.
Awesome. Unbelievable. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Shore.
I was gonna say, just shout out to a few
Yes.
comments there. We see Lonnie Hunter in a comment saying this brother is absolute truth, the real gold. Scooter, we got a lot of people here.
Not old Lonnie, man, that's my partner, man. That's my business partner, Lonnie Hunter.
Exactly. They're all here cheering you on, man. They're loving these stories.
But even that, man, like I said, when I got in the gospel industry, I didn't know anything about the gospel industry. Now, and this is a crazy story. When I got into the gospel industry, like I said, I was transitioning from No Limit. So that was just a totally different life, a totally different lifestyle, different venues, different environments, different things that went on. So during that time when I transitioned to the gospel, I also was had gotten baptized, had just about to get baptized after I got to transition, because I was still working at No Limit at the time that I got baptized. So when I started working in the gospel, I came into it to where I was just so, born again and different things. I was looking through life with rose-colored lenses, and I was thinking everybody's honest and everybody's saved and this and that, getting to the gospel industry. But I found out immediately, dealing with some gospel promoters, that we're all human beings. Yeah. And a lot of people hide behind that cross. And I did better dealings with the people that I was dealing with on the hip hop side and the R&B side, because I knew those, not everybody, don't get me wrong, not everybody, but a lot of the people that was on the hip hop side, especially when we're doing club dates or concert promoters by evening / dope dealers. You know what I mean? But you knew what you were dealing with. You knew what element that you were dealing with. You knew what the back end of the money, when they gave it to you in rubber bands, and $1,000 rolls, with rubber bands, right? You knew where that money came from. So when I got in the gospel industry, I'm thinking everybody, this is going to be a piece of cake. You know, I don't have to go into some of these seedy places that I've, you know, had to go in sometimes, and everybody's going to be honest, and all these checks are going to be good. No, ma'am, no, sir. You know what I mean? So it was almost easy because, like I said, I knew what I was getting on the hip hop side of what I was dealing with, and I knew how to deal with those situations. But on the gospel side, you know, you can't handle it with, I feel, with the same aggression that I knew you had to handle it on the other side. So that was a transition in itself. So to go back to Lonnie was one of the first people that I met with Brian. You know, I was on the road with Brian Courtney Wilson, and again, we was trying to break Brian. And Lonnie was one of the first people, him along with Rodell Lewis in Atlanta. He was working for Radio 1 at the time, and Lonnie was hosting the show, and he showed us a lot of love from day one. So when Lonnie called me to work with him, and especially to do the show with him, to co-produce, his executive produce the Lonnie Hunter show, I had to keep picturing myself like, you must be dreaming. This is a multi-award winning artist that has been in the business 30 plus years. Yeah. And you're, you know, thinking a little old Uncle G, you know, to want to work with. So that's humbling to me, because again, I know my humble beginnings. And again, that was like, when I'm telling you, even bypass the limousine days, when I had to hit rock bottom, when all there was up. You know what I mean? So I know where God brought me from, regardless of where he takes me to. Now I know where I came from. So anytime I work with anybody, especially the likes of Lonnie Hunter, I name some of the people that God has blessed me to work with. But then the other thing too, the limousine, again, to go back to that, the limousine business also taught me, like I said, to be humble, because I treated everybody the same. You was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or you were just some teenager who parents paid for you to go to the prom. You know what I mean? I still treated everybody that rode in my car the same as if you were that CEO of that song. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to, in life, you know, I encourage people that you don't want to treat some people some way and some people other way when you're in business, because you'll pick up those bad habits. If you want to treat somebody and you feel less deserving just because they're not paying you the same thing, afford to pay you the same thing as somebody else, that's not right. You know, you want to treat them just like they say in tithing. It's not equal giving, it's equal sacrifice. So those same people that scraped up the money, you know, I worked with Sherman and his beautiful wife before. So I'm going to treat them the same way that I would treat Leandra Johnson or Brian Courtney Wilson, regardless of whether they're just getting started, because I had to start somewhere.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. One of the things I wanted to also make mention of is, like, during this process, obviously you end up married with children, and how do you, that balance of understanding of, you know, what it is to balance this hectic career, this demanding career, this incredible spread of influence with a family life?
Well, that has a lot to do with my wife, Taisha. You know, my wife is very understanding of the industry that I'm in. And she picks up the slack, because when I'm gone, the stuff that I normally do, like the mirror practice, and now my daughter's in college, shout out to Moore, you know, she's a junior in college now, believe it or not, time passes. But the responsibilities, my wife has to pick up that slack. So she has to have that understanding of with me, and, you know, people laugh at it, but I don't really have any business hours. I work 24/7. You know, so if I have to talk to an artist at 9 o'clock at night, or program director, that's the only time I could reach them. That's what I do. You know, if it's 10 o'clock, or if I'm doing shows and stuff like that. So she's been comfortable with that, and, you know, she doesn't hold that against me. You know, but when I'm home, she knows I'm home. You know, I'm not home when I'm home and I run the streets. I don't run the streets. I'm happy being at home. You know what I mean? So that's the difference in all that I do, because again, I've done this for a bunch of years. And like I said, I've had some good jobs. I've worked with some amazing people, and it's afforded me to travel all over the world. So for everything that I do now is for them. You know, Just like we were laughing and joking earlier about the frequent flyer miles. Well, that's for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I travel around, yes, I'm doing it. And that's something that's funny because I think as the years went on and they started getting a taste of those trips that I would take on the frequent flyer mile, they started pushing me out the door. Like, oh, what you this weekend? Especially during the pandemic. Like, you got to get out of here. We're not used to seeing you here on the weekend, but they knew, that I'm getting, frequent flyer miles, hotel miles, because I don't cheat them. When it's time for them, when it's the family vacation, wherever they want to go, whatever they want to do. But I live for that. I live to see the smiles on their faces.
Well, I'm going to show something on a public, and this is public because this actually was on your page, so I doesn't do any deep diving. But this beautiful picture here, that was tell everybody what that was.
That's my queen when we got married in Aruba. Taisha, that's my wife.
Yes. Was this was this a vow renewal or this was the first wedding?
No, that was the first. That was it. We've been married. We just celebrated 10 years in May the 15th.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Wow. Congratulations! Go ahead, Sherwin.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So talk to us, about building the right team, right? Because I know a lot of what you do right now over the years. When it comes to booking, when it comes to managing artists, when it comes to doing all of that. While I have a follow-on question, just talk a bit about building the right team, because I'm sure over time, you have a producer that you trust to take these new artists. You have different individuals. So how important it is to build the right team, and what should you be looking for when trying to assemble a team?
Man, it's very important, nephew. You're only as good as the people that in your circle that's around you. You know what I mean? But my hashtag is we won't be our work. So I just refuse to be the weakest link. So when you get around people that's like-minded that want to work, you can't help but produce. And so long, y'all have the same values, because I'm a big family person. So when I call you nephew, I call you nephew, I mean that to my heart, with your kids. You have me around your kids. I've been to New York and I've spent time with your kids. I spent time with you so y'all are family to me. I mean that near and dear. There's people on social media that I haven't seen, but we communicate daily, almost, every other day, that it make me feel that you're family, because there's some family members I haven't spoken to in 10 years. You know what I mean? So blood doesn't always make you family. If I call you my family, I mean that. So with the people that I'm working with, they are like-minded. They work just as hard. They're about their family. They're about their business. And I don't want to start naming people because I know I'm going to forget a few, but my travel agent, D, Jerry Silvers, that does all of my my marketing stuff, my videos and stuff like that. Now I work with a long list of great award-winning producers, but the guy that I've been rolling with the last 3 years is Sean Keys, the smoothest. He's the truth. You know what I mean? And he is easy to work with Sean again because he's a family man. You know what I mean? I watch people, what they do with their family. Sure, and I watch what you do with your family. There's a lot of people on social media that I follow, and I may not even say a lot of stuff about the business stuff that they post, but I just love to see a man adore and love his family, especially a black man. It's very important. It's vital. You know what I mean? So it's one thing if you're out trying to make a name for yourself. That's good, the hustle and the grind. But to me, I think it's more rewarding and gratifying if you're doing it for your family. If you have the support of your family, if you're not neglecting your family, that all that you're doing, you're doing it for your family, you bring it back to your family. And then when you're not working, you spend your time with your family, because the last thing you want to do, just like you say, you're in Florida. The last thing, and you just told me you're going to California. So the last thing you do, and I know you, when you get back, you don't want to go watch football with the fellas. You want to spend time with your family. So that's near and dear to me. So when I'm surrounded around people like that, that makes me feel good. And like I said, I work with some amazing people. Lonnie is my, made me his co-executive producer because it's his show. Bishop Eric Lloyd, shout out to him for Rema Television Network. We work together on projects. He gives us a home for the Lonnie on the show. He supports me and my artists and stuff like that. And then just the artists, past and present, that I work with. I appreciate them for whatever time that I work with, whether it was for 3 months, 3 years, or 20-something years. I just appreciate every experience that I've had. But yeah, it's been a blessing, man. Even on the hip hop side, I work with some amazing artists, producers, and stuff like that. But we developed a family relationship to where I don't have to work with you. Our contract could expire. But to me, we're going to be family, because when I say that, that's what we are. It's not just when we're working together. We could be family along after a contract or a business deal expires. So that's just how I approach life.
So even with that though, so kind of talk about, because you mentioned artists, I'm sure you get approach on the daily for radio servicing, for artist management, but you're very strategic about who you pick and who you choose, as far as from a management perspective, as far as some servicing. So kind of talk a little bit about what do you look for when you're deciding, hey, I think I want to take on managing someone. Like, how do you go through, is there a checklist? Is there a, hey, I feel this? Is it a gut feeling? Like, for anyone that's even getting into managing or getting into, servicing and so forth, like talk a little bit of that from that side of things. Like, how do you go about making a decision?
Well, I would have to say, without sounding arrogant, I don't pick. I used to in the very beginning, when people would approach me, it'd be like, oh, I'm picking through this or that. But, the last few years, it's like, I call them assignments. God sends me people during that time.
Wow.
God has sent me, and I'll know something that happened to where I'll know in that encounter, something that happened, or I feel something, or maybe the song, something that happened to where I know that this was sent by God. Because I don't view it from the money aspect, because again, I could use the money because I have a family. You know what I mean? I could use the money, but I learned that doesn't last. That doesn't last when you approach a situation or a project in this industry. At least for me, it doesn't work when you're doing it from the money alone. Are you doing it because of, quote unquote, who the person is? You know what I mean? Because I've been blessed to work with some A-list artists, but I feel I've been most comfortable. Some of my best work is with untapped artists, new artists that nobody has heard of. You know what I mean? That's been some of my, I guess you would say, claim to fame. So I don't go looking. Just in the instance of you and your net, it was just something about, again, how you treated your wife, and you were helping her with her career. She was the one singing, but I know you provided the money for you to go to Vegas, to be on these showcases and move around and stuff like that. So that caught my attention. You remember we were at the Stellar Awards, and I called you and said, man, where are you? He was like, oh, we sitting in section so-and-so. I was like, oh no, man, I'm here. I'm waving my arms. Come down here. I have these 2 tickets on the floor.
He did, and you stepped back. And what he did, so Patrice, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So where Unc was sitting in the front, called me, Yannette, down. He moved us into that seat, and he went back. So he put us farther up front, and he went back from where we were. At that moment, I was like, wait a minute. He sat us there, and he went all the way back, and that was something. I went back home that weekend, and I was like, man, that's love right there.
Well, God told me to do that. You know what I mean? So it's people that I've, work with. I don't like to call names. It's people that I work with that it'll just be an instance, just like with the Brian Courtney Wilson thing, that song. You know what I mean? That song. And then Brian just happened to be at the time the same type of person. He loves his family to this day. As much as he's grown as an artist, he still is a family man first. You know what I mean? So we had the same spiritual and the same belief, and we just vibe well together. So you just have to have that common connection some kind of way, regardless, because it's not going to work because you spend so much time on the road with these artists. If you don't find something that has y'all connected from a higher power, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Because even with Killer now, Killer tells me all the time, Unc, I called you, 2 years prior to you working with me, and you just wouldn't take me serious on the call. And I said, Killer, I honestly don't even remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I used to tag you on my videos, and it wasn't until probably about 6 or 7 months ago. You get the reminders on your timeline of something that happened in the past and all of that. But it was this video that came up that she had actually tagged me in, that she was saying, I was like, she really did, but I didn't remember, because people call me all the time, and they send stuff, but I've learned I want to listen to everybody, but sometimes it's the timing, because you might send me something now and I might put you off. It's not like I'm not interested, but I'm probably doing you and I both a favor, because I never like to take on too much stuff. And somebody has to suffer. I want everybody to feel, regardless of whether you A-list or just getting started, that I'm doing the same amount of work or trying as hard as I can for everybody across the board.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, Uncle G, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're gonna have a little bit of trivia. We're gonna have a little fun with you. So,
boy.
Oh boy. We'll be right back after this message.
Okay.
Yes, and that is part of our Indigo Inspire line from Shop Indigo, where proceeds from every item that's sold goes toward our teen initiative programs and our well drilling projects. It is a music-focused line. So, hey, please check us out at shopindigo.com. Find your note, rep your section, and support a mission. So, Uncle G, so we have a little trip. We're going to have a little fun with you. Now, we know you
embarrass myself.
Oh, no, you're not going to embarrass yourself. But we're going to have, this is a little section. So everybody, I want y'all to get ready to share this. We're going to call this section, I Won't Be Out Traveling.
Okay.
I won't be out traveled. So Uncle G, you've got the miles upon miles upon miles. And one of the things that I found very interesting is you have a knack for taking photos of yourself in the seat. So we have caught images of you on different flights, different seasons. And if you take a good look at it, and I want to know if Sharon's going to be able to point something out, but I just love the way that you tag someone, let them know you're on a plane, and you're going hither and yon. And we have another slide of you once again on the plane going hither and yon. And I want to know if anybody picks up a particular theme. Is there somebody he likes? Is there a team that he likes?
It took everything in me not to put on my stuff tonight. Trust me on it, but trust me, it's close by. It's close by.
So, I'm gonna take a guess, Patrice. The team is New York Giants. That's the team.
No, you must be kidding.
Who that for life? That for life?
Okay, it's the New Orleans Saints. Now I have to say, Uncle G, one of these at one point, I got to go back to this slide. You had to have been the coach in the white, because you got the hat, you got the mask, and you got the white shirt. And I said he must be either the coach or he's been asked to be the assistant coach of the New Orleans Saints. And I just said, man, you rep your team.
Man, look, remember I told you, I never forget from whence I came. So I was a Saints. I'm originally from New Orleans, and I was a Saints fan when we was 1-15 with bags on our heads. So now that we've, gotten some winning seasons behind us and went to the Super Bowl, me and my wife had to be in Miami for the Super Bowl game that we won. So now, if I rep them back then when we was 0-15 and 1-15 wearing bags, I'm going to proudly rep them now. So that's what that's about. That's what
absolutely,
that's about.
absolutely.
Win, lose, or draw. That's my team. I'm not one of these weather fans that jump ship as soon as my team is out the playoffs and they have a losing season. Oh, now I'm a Giants fan. Oh,
Easy.
now I'm a New England fan. You
are stepping on toes. You're stepping on toes.
Well, I don't know if Sherwin changes teams. I'm talking to people that have one of those caps that they just keep turning in the bed.
I always been the Giants, man. I was never a Jets fan. I've always been a Giants fan, man.
Okay, well, I'm not speaking to him directly. I'm just talking to any sports fan that has several teams. I can understand if you have a AFC team or NFC team. But if you have 4 NFC teams, you're not really a team fan. I can't even talk to you.
Well, I tell you what, we are Bird Gang all day here with the Eagles. Say what you want.
That's what I'm talking about.
But we are ride or die. We're going to make our way back to the Super Bowl. I can't tell you when, but I feel it in my shana. I feel it in my shana. As Willie Moore would say, I feel it in my shana.
I can respect that. That's your team, and you're going to stick with that team.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
I respect that.
We want to also pay a little respect because I don't know if he's still on here, but Lonnie Hunter, you had mentioned him earlier about a pivotal role that he is currently did and is still currently playing in your career. And I just wanted to make sure we also here at Indigo Inspire Live really, paid homage to that relationship in the business world and the things that you guys are doing.
Shout out to him. He just got Praise Factor Awards this past weekend. And also my other guy whose network we're on, he got Network of the Year, Remake Television Network, Bishop Eric Lloyd. So again, you gotta I keep telling you, you gotta surround yourself with great people if you want to be great. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Again, I don't ever want to feel I'm the weakest link. So these guys keep me motivated, man, and keep me out here grinding.
Oh, absolutely.
Iron sharpens iron.
Oh, for sure. Sherwin, anything you want to ask him before we let Uncle G go? Because I know he has to get back to his family.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if one of the questions that we spoke about a lot that's been going on, and and before we wrap, Unc, we kind of want to just have like an Uncle G shout out moment. We know you're managing some artists right now. You're servicing a few of them, just kind of shout a few of them out, certain things that's happening. We'll have you kind of drop that and who we should be looking at towards the ending. But in like all your walks of business and commerce and management and, sitting at the executive seat, what is one of those things that you've always kept with you? Whether it's from since driving to being an executive to just running your own label, what is that one thing that have kept you grounded, that have kept you, moving from bit to bit to bit? What would that one thing be?
And then we'll come back to the question too that someone has in the comments.
Like I said, nephew, I came from a place where I had to hit rock bottom. I'm 20. I don't know the exact year. My friend Reverend Reginald Thompson keeps up with it, but I'm at least 26 years, I think, clean and sober. I abused drugs. I used to drink heavily every day, it was a drug abuse. So that keeps me grounded, that I know that life could have been a whole lot different. You wouldn't have wanted to talk to that person that was, like I said, he rock bottom, but luckily God was that rock at the bottom that I'd fallen. You know what I mean? So I've held on to that. And then it was something that Pete told me prior to me working for him. I was like I said, I was a chauffeur. And at the time, the company that I was working for, I was driving him and his family around for the company. And went to he had a mansion in Baton Rouge, and went there, and he was telling me, he said, "Oh man, just always be the best you can be in your world. Don't try to step outside of that, be somebody that you're not, just master that." Wherever you are at that period of your life, be the best that you are in that place, and then you branch off. Don't, as soon as you jump into one situation, you ready to, lead again and jump ahead of yourself. So I've always taken that with me. So whatever position I'm in, what God placed me with, people that I work with, I try to be the best person at that position that's in the industry. You know what I mean? If I'm managing you, I want to be the best. I want you to feel that you have the best manager in the industry. If I'm doing your radio tracking, I want you to feel that you have the best radio tracker in the industry. So that stuck with me. Be the best you can be in your world. I mean, in my world, I like to feel that I'm one of the best. I don't be arrogant or cocky about it, but I would strive to be one of the best in anything that I do, in anything that I do in life.
I like that.
Absolutely. We're going to leave you. We're going to answer this question here, which was, I think I put it up, took it back down. I'm going to put it back up here again. And this is from Rodney Harris. Says, my comment and question to Uncle G. I heard of you through a good brother and producer, Jamar Jones. He contacted me to co-write a song for Elder Goldwire. My question is, do you have an open door for song submission?
Yes, I do. And he's not just a producer. He is a award-winning great producer, Jamar Jones. He works with he's from Philly, as a matter of fact. And he works with Patti LaBelle, produced for Patti LaBelle. He's on tour with Jill Scott, just a plethora of things. And he also, my first album that I put out on my label, he was the music overseer, I guess you would say, for that particular project. But yes, to answer the question, I am open for music submissions for my artists. If you have a song that you want to send, you can send it to me. And if it's for a particular artist, let me know and I'll let them hear it, because I like to keep the artists involved, and then also people like a Jamal or Sean, I let them hear the music that I receive as well, because they also work with different artists that I don't work with, that they may feel might be a good fit, or they'll say, well, I like this, it might be something that we could use, you should use for one of your artists. Because I like to stay in my lane. So and I don't try to pretend the stuff that I don't know. You know what I mean? Again, you're only as good as the people in your circle. So the things that I don't know, I don't do. I have a list of people that I can call and say, hey, what do you think about this? Put your ear to this. Or I can't do this, and maybe I can't use it, but I know so-and-so is about to do a project. Maybe they could use it.
Okay. And his response is just, we served in ministry together for over 10 years. So that's awesome. What's the email that he would like to, or he or someone else who maybe a song would like to submit their music?
UncleGpromo@yahoo.com, or go to my website, UncleGpromo.com.
Okay.
UncleGpromo.com. That'll get directly to me.
Okay. Awesome. I want to just ask you, what would be your legacy in this industry? What would you like your legacy to be?
That he gave it all he had, that he was 100, that he was honest, he was integral. I just want to be somebody that, when my kids get older, to where, when I'm dead and gone, where they say, hey, your dad was a good man. I know your dad. Man, your dad was a good man. So as far as, the accolades and stuff like that, I'll leave that to people, because again, if you put your hopes and dreams on these awards and these award shows, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. I do it, I like to say, I do it for my artists. I like to see them get their shine on. I'm comfortable in the background. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable. Again, I work with some amazing people, man, that I learn from daily. So that would be my legacy, that people would just come up to my kids and my family and say, your dad was a good guy.
Awesome. Well, Sherwin, you have anything you want to say before we sign off tonight?
No, I don't have anything. I just want to kind of reiterate what I started with, is that, what you see is what you get with Unc, from integrity to friendship to family to the dude that basically gives up his seat and a grand award show and
Man,
just for you to step up front. Like, I mean, everything what you see is what you get, man. Love you, Unc. Like for real, man.
I love you, and I hope, because we didn't cover too much industry stuff, I hope the people didn't come on. I do appreciate the platform. Y'all let me give a little bit of my background, but if anybody needed any industry stuff, I'm open to those kind of questions if I'm able to ask. Like I said, you can reach out to me on my website. But again, I want to thank you both for, especially the inaugural show, to have me on, and to think that I brought something to your platform. It's very, very humbling. I appreciate you.
Oh no, Uncle, no.
Came on. Oh, sorry, but I was gonna say shout out to Sean Keys. He just came on as
well.
Yes.
Unc.
You were just talking about him.
Like I said, that's my guy, man. Sean, again, when you asked me before about how do you choose people, and I said a lot of times it's I know without a shadow of a doubt that it was that time, that season, that I was supposed to be with that person. Again, whether it's a short term or long term, I would hope that would be long, but it used to really disappoint me. Sometimes it still does disappoint me when certain relationships end, but I've learned that God has placed me in that position for that period of time. And if it's time to go, it's time to go. And for the most part, the last few years, every time one situation ends, he sends me another assignment, like it's another assignment waiting for me to do what he has for me to do. And in Sean's situation, a friend of mine, Big Chief Dow Edwards, he's a Mardi Gras Indian in New Orleans. His wife had contacted me, and they were doing a documentary on him, and they wanted some Mardi Gras New Orleans music to go along with the documentary. Mm-hmm. She wanted to surprise him. So I reached out to Sean because I had met Sean through another artist that I was working with in the past. And when I called Sean, he's a family man. He was about to go on vacation, the Disney cruise with his family. And I, told him what I was looking for. And he said, well, God, never done that, but give me a minute. Let me see what I could do. Mm-hmm. And he stopped what he was doing. He was planning for his trip. He was leaving in a couple of days. And I promise you, it couldn't have been no more than an hour and a half. He sent me a sample of the track, and it just kind of blew me away. It blew me away two ways. One, that he stopped what he was doing and he got right on it. Mm-hmm. And two, the quality of what it was. And he said he was going to just take a stab at it. And from that, another artist, his name is Keedy Black, from New Orleans. I called her. It was the same thing. I called her. She's a known bounce artist in the South, down South. She's big. And I called her to get on the song, and she didn't charge me anything. He didn't charge me anything. And in 2 days, they turned that whole song around. And neither one of them asked me for anything. So when I signed Keela, and it was time for Keela to put a project together, I remember what Sean had done for me and didn't ask for anything. So I called him and asked him, do you have any songs that I was about to put an album together for Keela? And he said, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And we went down to the studio in Louisiana and did a couple of songs. And at the time, funny enough, I didn't know that he had never done a full project, but he put her whole project together.
Wow.
And from that project, he's gotten 2 number ones, his first number one songs. He's gotten 2 Billboard number one songs from that. You know what I mean? So again, that was just something God had put in my heart, same way he put in my heart to see if where Sean and Mark, because I remember you told me they're going to be at the awards. I said to see where they were sitting at. The same way God just placed it on my heart. He placed it on my heart to call Sean. And from that period on, again, every time I call this man, he stops what he's doing and he sees to what I'm asking him to do. So you don't forget people like that. You don't forget relationships like that. So again, you're only as strong as the people that you get around you. So, and again, the biggest draw was he's a family man, and he introduced me to his family. And when his daughters and sons see me now, they hug me and give me a hug like I'm a blood uncle G. So you know what I mean? You know that's God. That's God. You know what I mean? So we never did another record together. He'll always be nephew and family to me.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And he's sending you some love. He says, and I'm forever grateful. Got my number 1 radio single because of Unc.
It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of me. I ain't saying no. I just thank God that he he used me to get it played around the country. But trust me, it wasn't me, man. He deserved that because again, man, I can't stress this enough. Like I said, we didn't do a lot of industry talk, but I can't stress it enough. Sometimes, and again, it goes back to what Pete said: be the best you can be in your world. You know what I mean? It's no different. It's not like Sean started producing any differently the day after he met me. He had already been a great producer, but he was only being utilized by people in his immediate area, in Louisiana and in that region. It just took him to get an opportunity to have an opportunity to be on a record, to do a record and get national airplay exposure to where now he's known nationally. Like he got an NAACP award for producer, not award, but nominated for NAACP producer of the year. And that wasn't just in the gospel genre. That was in every genre of music. So sometimes all you need is the platform. Just like I say, you provided a platform for me tonight, and I'll forever be humbled and grateful for that. Sometimes all you need is a chance because, again, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of rich people, a lot of people, movers and shakers in life. And like if you listen to their story, most of them started by just being in the right place at the right time, going in a room, and somebody just happened to be in that same room. And that's why I always encourage artists and tell you about bad habits. Just because there's 10 people in the room, don't treat it any differently if it was 10,000 people in the stadium. You sing your heart out for God because you never know who's in that number 10. Because all you need is one. All you need is one yes in life. And I tell artists all the time, man, especially from the hip hop side. 3 minutes and a half or 4 minutes will change your life. All it takes is 4 minutes of a song. You'll go from a nobody to, trust me, those royalty checks continue to come in. So always give your best. And anything you do, always give your best because you never know who's watching. We don't know who's on here. We don't know who's watching that's not commenting. You know what I mean? But all it takes is just for the right person to hear you and they'll help you.
I tell you, I could be on here with you for another hour, I promise you, and would not be tired because you have so much wisdom, but that came also with experience and years in the industry. So we definitely want to make sure that we have you back on the show. But actually, I have something else for you because I'd like you to do our conference in 2022. So we'll talk about that after we get off the show.
I would love to.
And I said that publicly. Yes, I did.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
I love to share. I love to share anything that I can share with anybody because, God has truth. When I tell you I'm blessed beyond measure, and if he never blesses me again, he's blessed me enough for a few people, but I'm trying to stay as close to the front of that blessing line as possible because he's in the blessing business. And it's not like he can run out, but trust me, I've had my share, but I'm just grateful, to the position that, God puts me in, and it's not always been good. And even now, it's not always good days. It's some bad days. But again, I've been afforded the opportunity to work with some amazing people. Dr. James Mabel, haven't said anything about him tonight, but he's a wonderful, wonderful gift from God with the patience of Job. And I love him because he's a hard worker. I love people that don't mind working. Regardless of what I do or what he sees me do, he's not going to sit around and wait to see, well, if don't promote me today, I'm not going to do anything. He does his own thing. You know what I mean? So if somebody else does something for him, that's just a plus, but it's not going to stop him from doing what he needs to do on a day-to-day basis. So I love people like that. And then here just recently, just like I say, I had my wow moment when Lonnie called me the first time. I've been blessed now to work with Dawkins and Dawkins. I mean, legends in the music industry, not just in gospel, but in the music industry. And, I was contacted again to go to show you what it's nothing but God. by Bonita Bellamy, somebody that I'm going to take you all the way back again. Bonita Bellamy, somebody that I've been knowing for years in the industry. Matter of fact, she was the first publicist when I first started off with Brian back in the music world. So I haven't worked with Bonita probably in 12 years, but God or somebody put it on her heart out of all the promoters, radio promoters in the country she could have called off of her list. For whatever reason, God had her call me. And I haven't worked with this lady in 12 years. And called me, and not only just called me, but to work for Dawkins and Dawkins. So that's just some stuff like that that's just God. You know what I mean? That's nothing that's nothing I can't take claim for that. And then from talking to them and the way it went about, just talking on the phone and me speaking my heart and them they're speaking their heart, what they're looking for from me, it just kind of meshed. And like I said, I just went out there last weekend for Eric's birthday. Birthday party, was invited to his house. You know what I mean? It's a award-winning artist, superstar producer. And I'm looking up, I'm at this man's house in California. So that ain't no Uncle G, I believe in God, man. That's God puts you in places, but you have to just always remember to humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in awe of his house or him, but just the story behind it. I'm always in awe of the connection more than the people that's involved in it.
And divine connections. That's what we call them, divine connections. Well, we want to, Uncle G, we want to thank you so much for being here on Indigo Inspire Live. It has definitely inspired me. And I'm sure I can speak for Sherwin once again. You will continue to inspire him as not just in the industry, but, as a husband and a father. So we just really want to thank you and give a shout out to your wife and kids and thank them so much for lending us to you for this little bit of time.
Well, I don't know tonight, Patrice. I don't smell anything in the kitchen. Matter of fact, my wife isn't even here. I'm looking around, wondering what's going on, and Amir's upstairs doing his homework. So it's just me. And when I get off, I guess I get on Monday Night Football. But you ain't breaking me away from them tonight. They look like they didn't kick me to the curb tonight. But it's all good.
You know what it is? You're not out there getting your free. You're not getting their frequent flyer miles. They're mad with you. That's what this is.
They're mad with me. They're gonna push me out this weekend. Though. Matter of fact, they're going on a girls' trip with my daughter and my her sister-in-law and my mother-in-law for my mother-in-law's 75th birthday. So they're about to reap the benefits of my travel.
Wow.
There you go.
And there it is.
Some kind of way, I'm gonna always be connected some kind of way in that. My traveling is gonna always be involved in their traveling some kind of way. Trust me.
Oh, wow. Well, everybody, we thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and your evening to spend with us tonight on the premiere of Movers and Shakers. We're so grateful, and we do not take it for granted that you would be here with us and spend this time just getting to know Uncle G better, not just the industry man, but the man himself. And that's what influencers really is all about. So we just thank you so much. We once again ask you to follow us on social media. You can follow Uncle G. He's Uncle G right on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you find him. There is Greg Lyons. Uncle G is all about the business, as well as Gospel Music Buzz. You'll find it in all platforms and Indigo Inspire Live. We'd be honored if you follow us. And then also you find out who's going to be next on next month's edition of Music and Shakers. So for everybody, we want to say God bless you. Good night. And once again, it's not just a vibe here, baby. It's a whole mood. Have a great night.
Look, bless you. And may your show take off, because one thing about it, you can only go up from here if you started off with me. But I see big things, and I speak big blessings on Indigo Live right now, because I know this show is going to blow up and it's going to be the talk of the internet. Not because I was on it, but I know I can see that y'all are going to have some amazing guests on here, and it's going to blow up.
Oh, we thank you so much for that.
Bless you. Thanks for having me. I'm humble.
Everybody have a great night.
Have a good night.